The first time I met an alien, she was laughing at my pronunciation. Her name was Saralith, though she told me to call her Sarah because human tongues bend around softer edges. We met at the Interstellar Cultural Exchange Summit on Luna Prime, an event designed to convince humanity that we were no longer alone, and more importantly, no longer at the top of the cosmic food chain. The Virellians had arrived 5 years earlier in ships grown from crystalline biostructures that glowed faintly in Earth's orbit. They did not invade. They did not demand surrender. They requested dialogue. Sarah was one of their first diplomats, brilliant, articulate, endlessly curious. She was tall and willowy, her skin a pale lavender that shimmered faintly under artificial light. Her eyes were a rich, iridescent teal, and thin filaments of silver ran through her dark hair like stardust caught in silk. I was assigned as her cultural liaison. My job was simple: translate idioms, explain jokes, ensure no one accidentally insulted a foreign dignitary by offering the wrong type of mineral water. It was not simple, because Sarah's people didn't just observe culture. They absorbed it. They mirrored emotions with unsettling precision. And Sarah, for reasons I never fully understood, found humans fascinating, especially our contradictions. "You speak of freedom constantly," she told me once as we stood on a balcony overlooking Earth's glowing horizon, "yet you bind yourselves with invisible chains." "That's not inaccurate," I admitted. "And you pursue love," she continued thoughtfully, "yet you fear possession." "That's more complicated." She tilted her head. "Everything is complicated with you." I smiled. "Welcome to humanity." Over months of briefings and diplomatic dinners, we became friends. Real friends. She confided in me about Virellian customs, about the tension within her own delegation between those who trusted humans and those who believed we were volatile children playing with nuclear fire. In return, I told her about my life on Earth, about my estranged father, about the strange loneliness of being surrounded by billions of people, yet feeling unseen. She listened like no one else ever had. And through her, I met her sister. Too, the sister no one mentioned. Her name was Lasara. Where Sarah was warmth and light, Lasara was shadow and gravity. I first saw her during a private gathering aboard the Virellian embassy vessel, an organic structure anchored in lunar orbit. It pulsed faintly with bioluminescent veins, its corridors curved like the inside of a living shell. Lasara stood near a panoramic viewport, staring at Earth as though measuring it. She was taller than Sarah, her features sharper. The same lavender skin, but threaded with darker iridescent lines that traced intricate patterns across her arms and neck. Her eyes were a deeper shade, almost indigo. Sarah approached her cautiously. "You came." Lasara didn't turn immediately. "To observe." "Humans aren't specimens." Lasara's lips curved faintly. "Everything is specimen until understood." Sarah sighed and pulled me forward. "This is Adrian Vale, my liaison." Lasara's gaze settled on me. It felt like being dissected. "Human," she said, her voice lower than Sarah's, resonant and controlled. "Lasara," I replied carefully. She stepped closer than diplomatic protocol usually allowed. There was no overt hostility in her expression, but there was something else. Intensity. "You are comfortable around us," she observed. "I try to be." "Why?" "Because you haven't given me a reason not to be." Her eyes flickered, reflecting the curve of Earth below. "That may change." Sarah shot her a warning look. "Lasara." But Lasara didn't look away from me. "I will be studying you," she said. I laughed awkwardly. "I don't remember signing up for that." "You did not need to." Something about the way she said it made my pulse quicken. 3. The warning. Over the next few weeks, Lasara appeared more frequently at embassy events. She rarely spoke in group discussions, but her gaze followed me. Not possessive, not predatory, but focused. One evening, as Sarah and I reviewed diplomatic briefs in a quiet lounge, she leaned back and regarded me thoughtfully. You should be careful around Lasara. That sounds ominous. She is protective. Of you, of our interests, of our future. I'm not exactly a geopolitical threat. That is not what concerns her. I frowned. Then what does? Sarah hesitated, which was unusual for her. On Viril, she said slowly, bonding is not casual. Bonding. Our people form connections that are exclusive. When interest is declared, it is not suggestion. It is claim. I laughed. You're joking. She did not smile. And Lasara? I asked. She has never expressed interest in an off-world. That's reassuring. It should not be. 4. The invitation. The message arrived on my personal comm late one evening. Come. We must speak privately. It was signed with Lasara's genetic seal. I hesitated. Private meetings with foreign dignitaries required oversight, documentation, transparency. But curiosity has always been my flaw. The embassy vessel's corridors were dim when I arrived, the bioluminescent veins along the walls glowing in soft blues and purples. Lasara stood at the entrance to a secluded chamber. You came, she said. You asked. She inclined her head and stepped aside. Enter. The room was circular, its walls smooth and faintly luminescent. No furniture. No visible exits beyond the one I'd used. Is this about negotiations? I asked. She turned to face me. The door slid shut behind me with a soft hiss. Then it locked. I heard the mechanism engage, an unmistakable click. My heart skipped. Lasara, I said carefully. Why did the door lock? She moved closer, slow and deliberate. Because you would leave if it remained open. A chill crept up my spine. You can't just, this isn't protocol. Protocol is human comfort, she replied calmly. This is Virellian necessity. What necessity? She stopped inches from me. You. V claimed. I swallowed. I think there's been a misunderstanding. There has not. Her hand rose, not touching, but hovering near my chest. You resonate, she said softly. With Sarah. With our systems. With me. That doesn't mean. In my world, resonance is bond. I'm not from your world. Her eyes darkened. Yet you stand within it. The air felt heavier, charged. You cannot simply decide I belong to you, I said, forcing steadiness into my voice. Her lips parted slightly. I already have. My pulse thundered. Lasara, I'm not an object to be claimed. Her expression shifted, not anger, but something more complex. You misunderstand our claiming. Then explain it. She circled me slowly, her footsteps silent against the organic floor. On Viril, when two beings resonate at harmonic depth, separation causes deterioration. Emotional, neural, sometimes physical. That sounds unhealthy. It is survival. She stopped in front of me again. When I observed you, she continued, my neural lattice synchronized. I attempted to disengage. And I could not. Silence stretched between us. You're saying you feel detached? Yes. That doesn't justify locking me in a room. Her gaze flickered briefly toward the door. If you leave now, the resonance may destabilize. And if I stay? She met my eyes fully. Then you are mine. 6. Fear and choice. My instincts screamed to demand release, to invoke diplomatic law, to threaten consequences. But beneath the fear was something else. Recognition. From the first moment she had looked at me, Something in my chest had shifted. A tension.
A pull.
You don't own me, I said quietly. She nodded once. Ownership is human word. Inadequate. Then what is this? Alignment. I exhaled slowly. And if I refuse? Her expression tightened. I would not harm you. That's not what I ask. She hesitated, a crack in her composure. If you refuse, I will sever the resonance.
How?
Painfully. For you or me? For both. The weight of her honesty struck me.
You should have asked, I said.
Her eyes flickered with something like regret. I do not know how. I stepped closer, not trapped now, but choosing proximity. Then start with that. Her breath hitched, barely perceptible. I wish you to remain, she said carefully. With me. As a partner? Yes. Not as property. Never as property. I considered the locked door behind me. Then unlock it. She studied me for a long moment. Then she raised her hand toward the control node embedded in the wall. The lock disengaged. The door slid open. She did not move to block it. You may go, she said quietly. If you leave, I will not pursue. The corridor beyond was empty. Freedom.
Choice.
I looked back at her, at the tension in her shoulders, at the vulnerability beneath her intensity. You should have led with that, I murmured. I stepped forward. Not toward the exit. Toward her. 7. Resonance. When I reached for her hand this time, she did not hesitate. The contact was electric, not painful, but profound. A surge of sensation rippled through me, as though every nerve had been tuned to a new frequency. Images flickered in my mind, vast crystalline cities beneath violet skies, twin moons rising over silver oceans, a chorus of minds intertwined in luminous harmony, and beneath it, her, alone among them, different. She does not understand why I chose you. Lasara's voice echoed softly within my thoughts. Sarah? Yes. Why did you? Her fingers tightened gently around mine. Because you stand apart from your own kind, yet you seek connection without dominance. I swallowed. That's not always true of humans, but it is true of you. The resonance deepened, not overwhelming, but intimate. Shared memory without loss of self. Two consciousnesses brushing edges without merging completely. You are not mine, she whispered aloud. You are with me. The distinction mattered. 8. Consequences. The diplomatic fallout was immediate. Director Chen summoned me within hours of learning about the unauthorized meeting. You are locked in a room, she said sharply. She unlocked it. That's not the point. It is to me. Sarah stood beside her, arms crossed. Lasara acted impulsively, she said, but not maliciously. She violated protocol, Chen snapped. She followed instinct, I countered. And you followed her? I met Chen's gaze steadily. Yes. Sarah's expression softened slightly. This bond, Chen said carefully. Is it coercive? No. I replied firmly. It's consensual. She studied me for signs of manipulation. Neural scans showed elevated activity, but no foreign implants, no chemical influence. You understand the political implications, Chen said finally. I do. Then understand this. If you are harmed, I won't be. I wasn't certain, but I believed it. 9. The Sisters' Test. Sarah requested a private conversation with me days later. You could have destroyed everything, she said quietly. I know. Why didn't you leave? Because she gave me the choice. Sarah searched my face. She has never yielded control like that, she admitted. She's learning. So are you. I smiled faintly. Is that approval? It is caution. She stepped closer. If you hurt her, The resonance backlash could destabilize her neural lattice. And if she hurts me, she will not. You're very sure. Sarah's eyes glimmered. She has already restructured her harmonic patterns around you. That is not something we do lightly. The weight of that settled in my chest. She locked the door, I said. Yes. But she opened it. Sarah nodded slowly. That is why I am not opposing this. Claim redefined. Weeks passed. Lasara and I met openly now, no locked doors, no secrecy. The resonance between us strengthened, but it never erased my autonomy. I could step away. She could too. One evening, as we stood on the embassy's observation deck, Earth glowing beneath us, she turned to me. In your culture, she said, what is the word for two beings who choose each other without ownership? I smiled. Partners. She considered that. Then you are my partner. And you're mine. She touched her forehead lightly to mine, a Virellian gesture of bond. I did not mean to frighten you, she said softly. You did. A flicker of remorse crossed her features. But you also showed me something, I added.
What?
That even across species, fear can be unlearned. She exhaled, a subtle release of tension. You were untouchable to us, I said. Too alien. Too intense. And you were fragile to us, she replied. Too separate. Seems we were both wrong. She smiled faintly. 11. A future unlocked. The first human-Virellian partnership became more than gossip. It became symbol, not of possession, but of possibility. Lasara never locked another door. She never claimed me again without invitation. Instead, she asked, and I answered. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And the resonance between us adapted, flexible, evolving. On the anniversary of that first locked chamber, she led me back to it. The door stood open. No locks, she said. No fear, I replied. She stepped inside and extended her hand. Adrian Vale, she said softly, will you remain with me? Not because I claim you, but because you choose me? I took her hand. I choose you. The chamber lights brightened, reflecting off her indigo eyes. And in that moment, the act that had begun in fear transformed into something else entirely. She had locked the door once. She had claimed me as hers. But in learning to unlock it, and in giving me the freedom to walk away, she had discovered something deeper than possession. She had discovered partnership. And I had discovered that sometimes the most terrifying doors are the ones that lead to connection. We left the chamber together, side by side. Not owner and owned. Not captor and captive. But two beings from different stars, choosing, every day, to stand with each other. And this time, the door remained open behind us.